What's up, guys? Labor Day holiday. I'm here with Nigel, one of our admins from the Premium Tier Futures Discord, and we're going to do some recap, maybe go over some of our ideas for the following week. And Nigel, anything you want to say here to kick us off?
Hey man, I'm glad you invited me to do this discussion because technical analysis from the higher time frame and kind of planning out the week is very essential to sustaining consistency in your trading. So I'm glad to do this, man.
Yeah, same. I'm glad you could jump on here. I've actually got the drums running in the other window. I don't think you can hear them on your end, but that's cool.
No, no,
It'll
I
sh-
can't hear them.
it'll show up in the video. Um,
Yeah, I wish I could. I saw your video where you were doing those drums. You got some nice beats, man.
Thanks, man. I've just been messing with this old drum machine and kind of got the idea from you, about adding music. And so often you run into issues where the music is proprietary or, they have stock music that you can pick from. But I
Yeah.
just figured it might be fun to throw in some live beats. I love talking over beats, you know?
Yeah, it's so much easier when you're talking when you hear music, man. It's so much easier.
Yeah, it keeps you engaged. And I already
Yeah.
got a few people in the comments, new people saying they loved it. So I'm going to just keep doing it.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah. All right. So what are we looking at? What do we, I think you were talking about the week ahead, some ideas that you had.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. Let me share my screen and 1 second. All right, so I'm sharing my screen and let's see. I got messy charts, so let me try and clean this up a little bit. It's like everything else but the candles you can see on this chart. So hold on 1 second.
It's all good.
All right, so this is like the hourly chart here. This is where I get like the weekly levels for the pivots and stuff. They change every week, so you get weekly pivots like the camarilleas and the floor pivots and stuff like that. So I kind of draw out these zones. Like you can see here, I have a copper top zone. It's really like just like a double pivot zone. And I took off the pivot so you can't really see them, but these zones here are just like this is a prior week zone, and this is like a monthly zone at the bottom here. Let me just use the arrows real quick.
Okay.
But this is something I was kind of checking out here on the hourly chart on um on NQ. And 1 second. I did draw a channel here. All right. I think my channel got messed up, man. Oh man.
That's all right.
But I was noticing like from last week that the NQ, even though the ES was moving sideways, like more of like a sideways channel range, the NQ has like a down channel here. If you could notice it.
Okay.
Let me
Yeah,
see
I
if I
see
could.
it's kind of falling off.
Yeah. So I was looking at it kind of like it's setting up to probably like start moving from the top of this range here, right? So we have the top of the range here, and it's looking like we just broke out of it a little bit and probably trying to head back into this range right now. Let me just make it a little bigger. I really got to prepare some cleaner charts for when we do this. I know this is a little confusing if somebody is looking at this for the first time. So that's the top of the range right there, the top of the channel, sorry. And you see we're getting some rejections here. We're getting sell-offs from that level. What is that? That's 19660 around that level right there.
Okay.
We came back up. We tested it again. Got a little pullback. We got the pullback here as well. Got a little pullback here, and we ended up bullish. I think this was today, right? And now we're getting like a little break back into the channel. So I'm thinking maybe initially we're gonna start getting some pullback, maybe to the center of this range here. And it's
Okay.
looking like NQ is kind of leading the weakness of the market right now, the
Okay.
impending weakness maybe.
Very cool. Um, yeah, I see that candle where it's just breaking under the channel line there, and
Yeah,
19546 maybe. Just
yeah,
because we're on the topic, I'm gonna throw something on top of your screen for a second. I'm just tracking ES here on the footprint charts, and
yeah.
just notice at the bottom all this delta, red delta,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah,
and that it's the same. You'll notice it's the same exact shape. You've got this channel high, and then the retest and fail, and then it just goes into, this is a whole string of sellers delta happening, and so I think that's
okay.
that's reflecting. I think the NQ, your chart runs a little ahead of ES, but I just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
share that because it's just catching my eye as we're talking. I'm seeing this thing drip and drip and drip, and I'm just seeing the delta go negative on that,
Yeah,
with no stop in sight. Um,
yeah.
so I
Let
would
me just
imagine, yeah.
let me check out the ES 1 hour chart and see what that looks like. Let me just clean this up real quick. I should have done this before we started. 1 second.
By the way, um,
Mm-hmm.
that range channel that
Yeah,
you just expanded, it kind of had a top and a bottom and a mean line already, in it,
yeah,
and that's a trading view thing. Is that right?
yeah. It's called parallel channel, and it's supposed to be in like one of these over here. I kind of favorite it, so it's at this bar at the bottom. Oh,
Yeah, I gotta
I think
pull.
it's
I've used that
over.
before, but I haven't seen that in a while. I need to add that into mine. So it's called a parallel.
Um,
You said it was a parallel channel.
yeah, you see, it's right here from the trend lines. When you go into trend lines at the bottom here in channels, it has
Gotcha.
parallel regression flat disjoint channel.
Got it.
Yeah,
Ooh, hoo, hoo. I love that. I'm using that on my chart right now.
yeah, it's cool, man. So
Thank you.
if you look at ES, right, it's basically just moving sideways. There is no really no channel to the downside, you know.
Hmm.
So I think kind of NQ is leading the bearishness right now.
So I got you on a 1 hour chart. Is that correct?
Yeah,
And we're looking at this sideways consolidation. This is now the S&P, and
yeah,
you can see we had a big, almost like a V reversal right here, that
yeah.
dips. Buyers stepped in, so we had initiative sellers and then initiative buyers. It went
Mm-hmm.
sideways again. Then we had more initiative selling, and that was again responded to with initiative buying. Came up to the
Yeah.
top of the channel. So from a Wyckoff perspective on the higher time frame, we're seeing
Mm-hmm.
some, that's about four good back tests of the top of the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the top of the range here.
the top of the range. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
So would we be
I
due
see. Th
for a dip to the bottom of the channel here and then see what happens, or do you think this is more of a mean reversion?
well, from a pivot perspective, right? So
Mm.
this is the golden top zone here, where it's let's see, it's the Camarilla S3 and is the central pivot. So let me just open this up to just give clarity of what these levels are. Right. So this right here is Camarilla S3. That's the weekly Camarilla S3 right there, the green line. And then you see that blue line underneath it. That's the central pivot for the week. So that's my
Mm.
golden pivot zone, and this is previous week's VPOC as well,
Okay,
right?
so you got a
So
triple correlation there with three different pivots.
yeah. So even if we get this pullback here during the Asian and European session, we might end up getting a bounce here and come back up for the RTH session. So I don't know if we're gonna actually hit the bottom of this range. Now, if we get heavy selling tomorrow and we break through this range with volume, then we could probably start seeing some tests of like the bottom of the range, which would be where um, that would be previous week's low is 55.6125 right
50,
there.
55.61. Okay, so roughly 55.60.
Yeah, yeah, roughly.
So, and then the other level that corresponds to your golden pivot zone there was roughly
Hmm.
56.30. So those are two key levels that we've just been retesting and back testing. You know, we got 56.30 and 55.60. Those are both key all
Yeah,
last week.
yeah. You want to use your chart because I know mine's is really messy. So you want to share your screen?
Um, yeah, sure. I'll
Just so
drop
if
drop
people
mine
are
in.
people are looking at the chart, they could have like a little more clarity because I know my stuff is messy, man.
Yeah, that's all right. Let's see here. Going back in for a second. There we go.
And it's looking like NQ is pushing harder to the downside right now.
Ah! Oh, there we go. Um, so I have a lot of lines on my chart, and I'm just gonna dust everything. Give us a fresh look here, except for that killer parallel channel. Um, that is a cool tool.
Yeah,
I like that. All right, can you see my screen here?
yeah, I could see it.
Okay, so we're looking at a black background ES chart, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. And so we were just kind of discussing that 5630 level. Um, I can throw a horizontal line right at 5630. Um, and let's just go ahead and make that green for now. And then we're going to add another one in here at, what did we say? Oh, 5560. That was the
yeah.
5560. So I'm going to open this up on the 8 hour so we can really see this sort of what I'm going to call a Wyckoff channel as it's forming.
Yeah.
So we got this initial drop down to 5606, which I guess that could be like a selling climax right there. Um, and then
Yeah.
that could be the automatic rally came right behind it, which would put us right at.
Um, I'm not seeing your cursor. Are you
Oh, you're not seeing my cursor. Okay, hang on a
no.
second, and I'll fix that. So let's go back in here, go back in here, and turn into the app. Okay, can you see my screen now?
I can see your screen, but I can't see your cursor over the screen.
How about now?
No.
Okay, you might be. I might be on a different screen here.
Oh, wait. I'm still on my screen, I think.
Yeah,
Hold on. I think I need to go over to yours.
yeah. What I'm seeing on mine is you were looking at my screen, but you were still in your channel or something like that. Yeah. So that should be that. Yeah. Did that did that work for you, Nigel?
No. One
Um,
second. Let me see. I gotta come back out and let me see. I'm gonna click over to watch your stream. That should work.
yeah.
Okay, I think I got it.
You got the cursor moving
Yeah,
now?
yeah, I could see it.
Okay,
I
cool.
could see it. Yeah, yeah. Got
Yeah,
it.
so I was just marking this bottom section here. Let me see. I had a big arrow loaded up. Uh, so we've got this 5607 is roughly the bottom of this channel, this sideways consolidation. And then I'm kind of putting a subjective 5656. It could be 5660, which is a nice psychological number for the top. Does that sound correct to you?
Yeah, yeah,
Do you, do you prefer it to go up to this wick? I'm looking at, so we got the most touches. There's a touch there. There's a touch, 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 touch. So I think that's pretty good. Right around 5660. Just leave that right there. I'm going to lock that in. And one thing you had mentioned also, or now that since we're on the subject of these channels, I always like to mark the 50% mean line
yeah,
because price goes there first. You know, if it
yeah.
reverts, it always ends up there on the first strip, and then whether it goes past it or not is to be TBD, so to speak. Um,
I think my connection here with the stream and your screen is getting messed up a little bit. I'm gonna just jump off real quick and just jump
okay,
back on so I can watch your stream.
okay. So while Nigel is stepping out for a second here, I'm going to go ahead and.
All
Um,
right, I'm back.
oh, you're back. Okay, cool. Let's see. I'm just pulling up a couple things here, make sure we're looking good. Okay. Um, so while you stepped out, I just pulled up the footprints to take another look at what's happening. You're seeing all of this red. Look at all this red delta at the bottom.
Yeah.
Um, Cumulative delta is still to the buy side, so buyers are eating this up, or somebody's providing liquidity. Um,
Okay.
this
I
looks
was
like,
thinking when you said delta, I thought the sellers were like the delta. I thought they were like the prominent ones. So at the bottom is the prominent, the cumulative is the prominent one. That's the one who's winning, right?
yeah. So the delta here is who's winning per candle. You see this long
Okay.
string of red in the middle,
Right.
and so up until there was almost some buyers pushed it into the bullish side right here. You
Yeah.
can see they're fighting it out. But if you look at the bottom,
Yeah.
the cumulative delta for the day, wow, this is interesting. It has stayed right around 4.8, 4.7, and it is to the buyers. So, maybe somebody's providing liquidity for this downturn, but it still looks like it's being bought up, even though it's selling off. Um,
So what's the numbers on the top?
so the numbers on the top is the total volume, and that's per,
Okay.
again, per footprint. So, if we're looking, I'm looking for the larger ones, right? So right here at 687,
Yeah.
there was quite a bit of volume there. Um, Nothing, again, it's after hours trading, so we're not going to see, you know, big numbers in like the 10,000s, but here's a 1.4 thousand. So you notice a string of like 400, 200, 300, and then all of a sudden we get three in a row for 1,000, that's probably a
Mm-hmm.
reversal trying to happen.
Okay,
And
okay,
so we should see some, absorption. We might see an imbalance. There's an imbalance right here at 56.47, and price came back down, and then it's back testing it.
so,
So if this
so
seller, go ahead.
183 is what? That's a seller.
That's a sell side imbalance that's over 200% larger seller than the buy side.
So
So
the
you
buy
got
side is 45.
well, the buy side would technically be 56 because you look at it on the diagonal,
Oh,
right? So
okay,
you have
okay.
183 on this particular auction. Sellers beat out 56, um,
Oh,
and that
okay, okay.
yeah, and that kind of continued this run down. But it's with these larger numbers happening on the volume, it's starting to look like a little bit of a sell side absorption. So sellers
Okay.
did get absorbed, and then of course it went right back up to that large seller. So kind of like what happens right here at this 56.47 is kind of key, whether it's going to reverse or whether it's going to turn around.
Right.
Now the other thing to
Looking like
notice,
they're taking it up.
yeah, the other thing I'd point out is generally for a closed auction, you're going to want to see a zero. So like this 03, 04, that shows that auction business is finished. But right here we got a 1 and 1 and a 2.5. So this could easily go back up to 56.50 on the pullback.
Mm-hmm.
It's really key to kind of watch what's happening here. If you'll notice, the delta is trying to flip bullish right here.
Yeah,
See that
yeah.
too, but it's not strong. So this looks like right now like a low volume pullback.
So how could you tell if it's a stop run? Is there any way on footprint you could see that?
If it's a stop run, well, in
Yeah.
the case of a stop,
Like what's happening now?
mhm,
Like if this is a stop run, like it's low volume buying,
mhm.
right? Like just clearing out stops. Could you see that on footprint? Does this give like a indication of that?
Um, Not necessarily. You kind of have to infer by what's happening.
Right.
We know that there's
Okay.
stops up here at 56.49.50 because there's an unfinished auction right there. So
Right.
40, 56.49.25. We know there's stops here because, there's still liquidity there at 56.51. So if you
Yeah.
see, like a low volume thing where it just blasts through that, that's a stop run.
Right.
Um, and so you do have some idea where it might take place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also saw that Bookmap added footprint to their chart as well.
No
So
way.
I thought that was interesting. Yeah, man. Um, I don't have the full coverage right now because being out sick and stuff like that, I had to kind of cut back on some expenses. So I don't have the full version right now, but the full version I think from Global Plus, you get footprints on the just as you have it right there. You get footprints at the bottom, I think.
Wow.
Not on the chart because you got the bubbles and stuff on the heat map,
Yeah.
but you do get that those deltas at the bottom.
Oh, that's so cool.
So like if you use footprint and bookmap at the same time, I guess that's more insight.
Yeah. Yeah, I use them together.
Yeah.
Um, so you notice price came up almost to this little unfinished auction right here, this unfinished business. And we got some buy side absorption. You can see the delta was to the buyers, all this blue, and it didn't push through. So it's struggling right here. And the delta's trying to
Yeah.
flip back. So, this is just a rotation so far. Um, Once this fails, it's going to drop back down to the low and probably continue. So that was just a side note. I'm just got this on my other monitor. I'm just kind of watching it. So we'll revisit that, see where it goes. But
So right now on my 5 minute chart, it's looking like kind of like a bowling green reversal, but it's a little too early because it's coming down to -3 VWAP, but it is at a golden pivot zone as well on the 5 minute chart because I have Camaria S3 at 56.41.50 and the central pivot at 56.40.
Okay, and is that are you talking about the weekly or the daily
No, no,
pivots or
just the 5 minute chart. So that's intraday levels.
okay, but in terms of your Camarias,
Yeah,
okay. So
that
I'll
those
I'll
are
drop
daily.
those in just so we can see what you're talking about here.
Yeah,
So Camaria on the daily,
yeah,
and we were talking about S3
yeah.
and S4, I think you said.
S3, but then floor pivot, the central pivot. So it's gonna be you'd have to add another one to see the floor pivot.
Okay, so my indicator comes with the central pivot, which is
Right.
this P right here.
See, you got it. You
Yeah,
got it.
so we got S3 and the central floor pivot. You can see it was back tested right there on that V reversal. So the question is, what are we looking at? 5640?
Well, that was a nice trade today right there. That reversal right there. I didn't think about trading today, but that happened. That was the European session, the London Open
Yeah,
at 3:30. Yeah.
it
So
got
that
me
had a
thinking
nice
too.
trade right there.
Yeah, because it was almost a mirror of what happened on Friday, towards the end of the
Oh, let's
session.
see.
Um, this was Friday right here. We got this
Right, right. Yeah,
V reversal, we got this sideways thing, and then price went all the way up to the third outer VWAP,
yeah,
and then here we are in the European session today, holiday, V reversal sideways,
yeah.
second
And if you
outer
notice
VWAP.
the pivots haven't changed because when it's a holiday, the pivots don't change. So we're still running that same pivot level.
I see. Yeah. What pivot was the high? Did you take note of that? Was it probably R3?
Um,
R3. That didn't really.
no, we didn't get up to R3. Um,
Looks like R1.
let's see, we got up to previous week's high.
Okay.
That's where we touched 56.69,
So that's this
and
purple
the
line right
high,
here, 5669.
yes.
So good correlation
So the
with the
ETH
R1.
Open, yeah, the ETH Open that tagged the previous week's high, and then we started moving down.
Okay. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's just
so
been
I
kind of
think I
selling
think
off ever
maybe
since.
I think maybe for tomorrow we might. I think this is gonna go bullish into the open tomorrow, and then we might start getting some reversal tomorrow. Like we might get like a pop up and fail, maybe something like that kind of open where what do they call that again? It's a open test and fail.
Like an open test drive.
Yeah,
Um, I think that's what it's called, open test drive, and then it reverses, or open test and fail, something like
I
that.
think it's open test and fail. Not sure though.
Yeah. So looking
And
at
it's good to
this,
kind of plan out these trades, man.
yeah, for sure. Um, so this is clearly in a range. The Camarias look really useful here. We've already bounced off the daily pivot in S3 once at 5640. Um, it does beg the question, are we going to hit the mean line at 5630, which is right by the outer third VWAP deviation? I could see that happening for sure. Um, and then what happens there? Does it get bought up again? My feeling is it might with this strong V. So that means that these levels, this S3 and daily pivot level around 5640 is really key to hold or fail, because this is a whole new sideways channel compared to Friday. And we pushed up from the bottom of the channel. I'm just going to close VWAP here so we can see this a little better. And let's go back to the 8-hour. Let me get rid of the pivots. Yeah, so looking at this on the higher time frame, I love to count waves. I'm like the count from Sesame Street. I'm always, is that wave one, wave two, wave three? Um,
Yeah.
but
And
this to
I
me,
had to go back. I had
yeah,
to go back to the book so we could have the proper definition. It's called a open rejection reverse.
open
That's
re-
what it's called.
an open rejection reverse.
Rejection
Okay,
reverse. So that's on page 68 of Mind Over Markets.
so that's kind of
Oh,
looks like what we had on the daily here. It kind of shot up to 56.66,
yeah,
and then it reversed. It rejected.
yeah.
Um, yeah, my sense of this is 5630 is in play, and did we get a good shakeout, or are these just like minor sign of weakness? Maybe this is a major sign of weakness right here. Minor sign of weakness. Testing the bottom, testing the bottom. Um, is this going to go, or is this going to come back
So
and test the bottom?
that's your daily chart, right?
Looking at the 4 hour here.
4 hour. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see anything that's like a really strong selling climax or shakeout. You know, I want to see
Yeah.
I want to see high volume like that at least. And that was kind of on what looks like an automatic rally or the
I think right now it's just basically a bull flag. I wouldn't really give it any distinction right now because it's just moving sideways in a range. We gotta see. I would say if we're thinking about like a Wyckoff structure, we would have to go out to the daily chart to see kind of where we're at in that structure.
okay.
Because it looks like on the daily chart, it looks kind of like okay, so we had maybe a selling climax on the 16th of July, somewhere around there.
Okay.
And then we had the sell off, right? So the sell off, if it's a distribution phase, right? The
Yeah.
16th of July would be the buying climax, right? Then we would get the automatic reaction, which would bring us down to the 5th of August. We came down to around 51.20, and now we're pushing back up to what is that called when you after the automatic reaction? I believe this is the secondary test, right?
Okay.
So right now we're just basically back up at the secondary test. What's supposed to happen from here is um, it's hard for me sometimes to remember exactly what these phases are. I gotta memorize that stuff, man. Because I always
Yeah,
gotta
I
go
feel you on
back to
that.
the book and just look at the diagram, you know?
Yeah. Well, let's just kind of recap what you just said. So, we had this high right here at 57.18, and so that would be your, preliminary stop, right?
Yeah,
I guess we'd also be looking for a buying climax if this were an accumulation,
yeah.
correct? Okay, so we
So
did
the buying climax will be right there at the top, right? So
right
that's
here.
our buying climax.
Okay, we did have
And
above average volume in those candles.
but I
Um,
remember them saying that if we get like a little sideways movement,
mhm.
that could also equal like a buying climax because we have steady heavy volume. I mean it's I guess it's average to the rest, but it's steady at the top there. But the candles aren't really moving up, right?
Yeah,
And we're getting wicks to the top side. So we're just kind of looking at it as a top out. So if we get a top out, we could kind of classify that as the buying climax. And then we're coming down now to get the automatic reaction where we got the increase in volume, right? And then this right here is supposed to be the secondary test. Now after this, we're supposed to come back down to the bottom there at around 5120 to create a minor sign of weakness and even break that level.
Okay,
Now, if that does happen, people are gonna start panicking, like we're in a bear market and it's gonna break down, right?
for sure.
So maybe a lot, it'll trap a lot of bear traders, short traders, and then after that, we're supposed to get like a up thrust, which is supposed to break the top of the range or break above the buying climax. So if you really think about it, I think that's a good plan for market makers to trap people on either side, because everybody's thinking right now bullish is going to break out, is going to break out of the range, and we might just get a flush down, like how I say king bear might just do the same thing he did on the 16th and bring
Yeah,
us all the way back down,
yeah,
because I
I can
think
see
he's
that.
taking profit. So maybe this is a distribution pattern in the making, because it's looking kind of textbook right now.
You know, it is an extended sideways consolidation
Hmm.
or possible distribution. It's quite a
Yeah.
bit longer than, you know, you've got these little guys here and these here, but this is kind of a long range sideways action. You know, a lot of times when that
Hmm.
happens, it can signal a reversal because it's like
Yeah.
price keeps trying, but it just keeps failing at the high, and eventually it gives
Right.
up. It goes the other way. Um, yeah, you know, I I'm looking at this reversal right here. It's almost a V shape. It's pretty strong. I'm back on the 8 hour now. Um, we usually see a sideways, you know, consolidation. One of the tips I picked up from Axia is that when price is consolidating, it's generally low volume, and when it's an accumulation or a distribution, it's generally higher volume. So if we take that into account, you know, I am looking at ES here. Would you say that this was a higher volume range? Um,
Um,
there's definitely that big spike right there. There's a big spike right here. On the regular trading hours, it's definitely been above average, but I don't know if I would call it, other than these two big spikes, I don't know if I would call it high volume. You know, there's definitely this one, this one.
yeah. So those high volume bars, what happened in the candles? Could you open it up a little bit?
Sure. What happened in the candles? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
yeah, the
Yeah.
yeah, was it selling or buying?
Well,
Okay.
it was buying. Um, Now right here, when I go down to the 45, you see the sellers kicked in. So it was buying, but if you look on the 1 hour, it was buying, but that was a reversal point. So they got absorbed.
Yeah,
So it dropped down
that's what
back
I'm
down to the
thinking.
yeah.
This has to be distribution, because with those spikes, we're supposed to at least break out of the top of the range. Like what's stopping it?
Yeah. The other thing I would look for on a, you know, on a distribution, like if it was an accumulation, you would get this big up thrust here and then volume would kind of roll off. But if it's a distribution, it might be more choppy. And so you have high volume, low volume, low, 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 high.
Hmm.
You can see right here for the past 3 sessions, it looks like volume is actually rising.
Yeah, yeah,
To you know, and as the volume is going up, the price is coming down. So that's generally like
right.
a divergence there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think, you know, I mean, I look at everything super short term when it comes to entries, just doing the intraday stuff. So you know,
Hmm.
I'd be targeting 5634, and then I'd have 5607 in my sights too if 34 breaks. So I'd be curious what happens on this lower time frame. This little sideways guy right here. You know, price is fractal, so it does kind of look like a mirror image of the larger, um, you know, Wyckoff accumulation or distribution that's happening.
One of the indications I was looking at for a possible reversal in the market is the US dollar is looking like it's gonna do a reversal right now
Right now,
because
like
it's kind of,
right now.
yeah, well, it's setting up on the, because right now I'm on the weekly chart, because you could kind of see clearly where we're kind of hitting the bottom of the range on the weekly chart, and you can see like there's a reversal kind of happening right now.
Yeah, I see it. So it's this last week was the start, and then um, the start of this week.
And let's see, I have value area low. The monthly value area low is at well, I'm using the Dow Jones FXCM dollar index. It's I learned from Anna Cooling, one of her books. She was saying that this is like a updated version of the Dixie,
Okay.
because the Dixie, the weighting it has from these other currencies are outdated. She was saying that the what is it? The Australian dollar is much more prominent now than it was back then when they created the weighting for the Dixie.
Mm,
So Dow Jones came up with this different version, and it's better weighted.
okay.
So that's why if I say like my value area low is at 12,787.84, it might be a little different on. Oh, you got it. All
Yeah.
right, cool, cool.
Yeah, I started tracking it when you mentioned that. So I try to keep that just in my options chart there.
Okay, cool,
So
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, and I have some anchored VWAPs from the beginning of the last quarter we were in, starting from June. Was it June, July? Wait, yeah. So the beginning of June, I anchored some VWAPs from that level. So I try to kind of track the quarterly progress for each chart from the anchored VWAPs from the beginning of the quarter. So I haven't switched over yet. This is still anchored from that quarter,
Okay.
and it's looking like it's gonna price is just below -1 VWAP, which is kind of it's accumulating to do like the bowling green strategy, where it's gonna break above the -1 VWAP and start heading towards VWAP.
Okay. Um, I'm just pulling up the Aussie because you mentioned that in relation to the U.S. dollar. Um,
Yeah,
I've I think we've both used it as a long time as an inverse correlated instrument to um, to the dollar. So just taking a look at what that looks like. There's a V. So this could pull back a bit and go sideways a bit. If I compare that, yeah, if it's pulling back and the dollar is going up, then that's pretty bearish for the S&P.
yeah. So the
There's
odd USD and Euro USD, those kind of correlate with the ES and the SPY. So they're kind of like risk on instruments or currencies or currency pairs. So could we go back to the odd USD chart?
yeah. So
Right. So to me,
uh,
looking at this right here, it's priming up for a reversal, a possible reversal,
yeah,
and that would go in line with what's happening with the ES right now.
yeah. You can see we had a false breakout right here um, that came down. Bearish order block came back down. Um, Double top is coming down. And these guys do tend to kind of go up and down in a range. So
Yeah.
down looks like the likely move here.
Yep. And I was actually thinking about taking like a swing trade on Forex, probably shorten the odd USD,
Yeah.
as the US dollar is gaining strength, and just take that little short, try and catch that whole little ride back down there to maybe zero. I can't see it. It's 0.64, something like that. Well, the bottom of that little candle right there.
Mm, yeah. I mean, that's a, there's a bullish order block right there that's just begging to get retested.
Okay.
So, you know, that would make sense. There's an FVG right there too. Um, that's kind of interesting. Uh, but I won't get into that too much. Um, well, I'm trying to
But
remember what.
I'm definitely gonna be watching the US dollar tomorrow to see if it continues this bullish run.
Okay.
Because if it does start picking up speed, it'll definitely kind of put some pressure on the ES.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
And right now on the 1 hour chart, if you anchor the VWAPs to the beginning of the session, like on Sunday at 5 p.m. my time,
Hmm.
you can see that we're already touching the third upper deviation band. We're already tagging previous week's high
On the Aussie,
on the US dollar.
on the US dollar. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So 1 hour chart.
Okay.
Right. So
Yeah.
the beginning of the session, you see, we're already trying to break out right there.
Yeah, that looks like a breakout in progress, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Things that make you go, hmm.
Yeah.
Uh,
I was looking at gold as well. Gold is coming up to, I did some analysis, and it's like a measured move resistance. I forgot I did this a while back, but I can't remember exactly where I measured it from. But I had right where we're banging on the top right now on gold. I think the top here is 2570.4. 2570.4. I think that's the top
okay.
right there. And it's just banging on the top right there, and we're getting this rejection. I think gold is about to sell. And right now gold is not acting like when there's risk on, you get like a sell off in gold. Gold has been moving up with the ES, right?
Uh,
So if it starts reversing right now and it's still moving with the ES, then it's looking like gold is front running the sell off that's probably gonna come.
so they've been moving, gold and the ES have been moving in tandem, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it
yeah,
does. It does look like that. It's already on its way down as well. Um,
because it's supposed to be a risk off instrument, right? So if people are buying the ES, like it's risk on, they're supposed to be selling gold because gold is a safe haven, right? But these days gold is moving with the ES. So people are buying the ES, which is a risk on asset, and still buying gold at the same time. So I don't know how that plays out. Sometimes Anna Cooling was saying in a book, like, sometimes you get divergence and convergence. So sometimes these divergent markets start to converge, and there's reasons for it, but I can't remember some of the reasons she gave for that.
wow. Well, that doesn't bode well for risk on assets. Um, doesn't bode well for ES specifically, or
Yeah,
gold either. That's a really
because it's
interesting thing.
definitely a safe haven. So somebody is still trying to play it safe while they're I guess they're taking the risk on ES and buying up the ES. Somebody is still, buying the gold market. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what it means totally,
It's
but it
almost
is
like
strange.
the inverse of divergence, right? To me, that
Yeah.
suggests that the divergence is going to reappear. That it's, it
Ex-
took a breather.
yeah.
Yeah,
Now, if it does reappear, like let's say ES takes off from here and gold continues to sell, then it's back into the divergence and everything is good. It's a risk on environment and everything is good. But if it starts selling and the ES is selling, well, I don't know. It's just front running the selling right now because it's looking weaker than the ES.
yeah. Well, maybe it'll get to the bottom first. I'm just looking at this on the weekly, and it's kind of
Oh, that's
big.
the weekly. That's
Yeah, it's
that's
kind of
why I was saying it was looking a little different from my daily chart.
yeah. Well, it's kind of looking like it needs a back test of this red line here, 24.44. That line hasn't really been back tested. It was on this candle, I guess, but it wasn't. Doesn't look like it was back tested in a way that was with a lot of confidence. It was just a quick thing on that week. Moving over to the daily. Yeah, it's due
I
for a
mean,
back test at 24.40.
to me, it's looking like it wants to break down that little range right there. That bull flag is
Yeah,
looking like it's gonna break.
yeah, same. This guy right here.
Yeah. Because we got two major sellers right there. We have one buyer trying to come back up, and he's getting conquered again. Right. So it's looking
Yeah,
like they. And even before that, we had the major seller. You see him over there. What is that? Like four bars behind. Yeah, that guy. No,
mm,
to
right
the
here.
left. Yep,
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
So he started it, and nobody has really kind of overtaken him like as a buyer. Nobody really kind of conquered that volume of selling or that price movement really.
yeah, yeah. No, it's just under um, above average. It's below average under this purple line in terms of the volume until we got to that seller right here. It's
Yeah,
above average.
and
Definitely
you
kind of
know
a.
on
I was gonna say there's a buying climax right here on the weekly, and it
yeah
took us into the sideways range. So there could still be some chop, but it does look like a distribution. It's how it's up and
right
down, up and down. It's not a clean roll off.
and then we could get the impending automatic reaction bring us right back down because the selling might be vicious because of the stop losses right under there. Everybody's going to put their stop loss just below that big seller right there.
Yeah,
Everybody's stop loss is below there.
yeah, that's right. So let's trigger that.
So once we break that low right there of that seller, there's no telling where it could stop. Probably even back down to the where is that? The second swing low right there.
What was that about? 2470, 2469.
Um, I think it's on August the 8th.
Oh, down here you mean
Yeah,
2420? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, because this is kind of a double bump. You got almost that W shape, so this could get back tested before it really signals what it's going to do.
yeah.
You got me thinking here. Um, I'm just gonna just as an aside, I'm gonna feed in the footprint chart. Can you see the footprint chart?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so just to kind of recap what I was saying earlier about this possible reversal or this pullback, you had all this red delta at the bottom, you had this big drop off, and you had these two footprints with unfinished business. You have this 2.5 and this 1.1 that I marked, and you can see it went sideways, the delta flipped bullish and it took out that 2.5 at 56.49, and then just 5 minutes ago, boom, took out the 1-1, the unfinished business. So in terms of a pullback, I don't see a good imbalance to play off of here. So it's a little
Mm-hmm.
tough. It's a little tough to say if this is going to come back down or keep kind of going back to the upside. On the short term, this actually looks like a pretty good reversal. All these sellers
Yeah.
got
So
absorbed.
so from a footprint perspective, how would you enter reversal here? What would you be looking at here to enter like a reversal, or where would you enter to go
So
long?
so I'd be watching. Let me see if I can pull my pin up here. Maybe that was a bad idea. Made my computer go crazy. Oh, there it is. It's hiding. Okay. Um, I don't know if you can see. Can you see the arrow?
Yeah, I could see it.
Okay, cool. So it's working today. That's nice. Um, so I would be watching, you know, for this to get back tested, which it did right here, and then I'd be looking for this unfinished business to get back tested, which it did right here. Um, so I would be watching that zone very carefully to either hold or fail this 56.51. And I bet if I did a Fibonacci on that, you'd be looking at something around a 50 or a 62% pullback off of this last swing right here. So from
Yeah,
here to here,
that looks right.
so this would be this 1-1 level right here, 56.51. I want to see that hold or fail. We had all these buyers, and the delta was to the buy side. It was at 500 lots went through, 200, 536, and then the delta's trying to flip right here. So it's either going to hold or fail. So I would wait until this breaks down under 56.51. And if that happens, during the regular session, there would likely be more obvious imbalances that you could target. Um, on this, I'll just show you. So there's a 14.3 right here. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's a failed auction. There's a 9.2. That's a failed auction. There's a 17.1. That's a failed auction. So we don't get a finished auction until down here at 56.47. So, on the very short term, if 56.51 were to fail, I would consider going heavy to 56.50 and hit that first failed auction right there, or
Mm.
unfinished business, because we need to see a zero. See the zero up here? You got 0.3. It got back tested again, and it's starting to roll off. Um, so if this level holds, then I might do a little short-term play there. Now, if it fails, I'm sorry, if it holds, and now we're getting a little bit of unfinished business right here at 56.52. So it's a little bit indeterminate. I wouldn't just enter. I'd love to see a closed auction and an imbalance, like a buy side imbalance that just
Yeah.
where the buyers get absorbed. But I'd be aiming for just, less than 10 ticks there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm just experimenting with the colors. Usually I like my skeleton footprints, but sometimes you get some insight from the colors as well. So
Yeah. That's why I like Bookmap. I like the visuals, man.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I think Bookmap is just on the it it does so much already, but I think it's just going to get better and better. You know,
Yo, those guys are developing stuff every day, man. Like every day I look at this guy, what's his name? Bruce Pringle. So he's kind of like he's a moderator, and he kind of showcases the new stuff, and he's like he's trading as well with the order flow and breaking down the order flow, and he always highlights these new stuff. That's how I know like we got footprints in Bookmap now, he shows you how to use these stuff, and they're always coming up with new stuff, bro. So it's really just kind of on the cusp of where it could really be. I think it's gonna be really great. Like probably in a couple years, who knows what kind of stuff they're gonna come up with.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's gonna be cool. I'm, I'm still using the Thinkorswim version, which is kind of a beta version. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but
Yeah,
even just with the heat map and the order flow on it, I love it.
yeah. But definitely, when you get the full version, you're gonna go crazy with it, man. Because I know how you like to explore these little trinkets in these apps and stuff like that. So there's a whole bunch of stuff to do with Bookmap. So
Yeah, I go deep,
yeah, you'll be
definitely.
sitting there all day, man. Because
Oh,
sometimes I just sit there all day as well, just going through stuff, and it's crazy, man.
you won't see me for like 3 months. I'll just buried in it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
There's this thing called Cloud Notes where you could I could export the levels from TradingView into Bookmap, but there's a whole kind of technical video on how to do that. It's not really that straightforward, so I gotta kind of dive into that video and try and implement that because I just use these notes, custom notes, and I have to change it every day with the levels, you know.
Yeah.
But with the cloud notes, it just automatically updates. So I really need to get that because that's gonna save a lot of time.
That is so cool. That's a feature that I always wished uh, that I had. You know, the ability to import levels from
Hmm.
TradingView into Thinkorswim.
Yeah.
S- Just while we're on the
So
subject, I'm pulling up Thinkorswim on my end, and I'll see if I can, because I know I can add a Cloud Notes column um, in the version that I have. So
I think you could probably do it. So all you gotta do is go to Bookmap and go to the knowledge base section, and there's I forgot what it's called, but you'll find it in there. It's for cloud notes, and they give you like a whole breakdown. But it's basically like you export the levels from TradingView into um a Excel spreadsheet or a spreadsheet, and then from that spreadsheet you kind of save it somewhere as a CSV file, and then they give you like I think you click on share link or something like that, and you get the link and you post the link into Bookmap, and it's a whole bunch of stuff, man. But I gotta go in there and see how I could do that.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've done um, so recently. I had to set up a computer again, and I had to reinstall Bookmap on it, and
Okay.
I was able to do that share feature. So just so people know what we're talking about, I'm going to go ahead and add a column here and do configure column. And we're going to change this to, if I can get this to open up here, just show you this. So we've got this extra menu down here, and down below there's Cloud Notes. And
Yeah.
so I'm going to change that to CLDNTS, Cloud Notes. Okay, so it says import notes in format, bookmap. So it probably gives
And
you a URL
that
to send that CSV.
yeah, that's where you post it in and then you save it. But it's not that straightforward. There's a lot of stuff behind before you get the link.
Yeah,
So yeah.
let's see. I'm frozen. Oh, can't load any file during 3 second from. So it's complaining that I don't have a URL there, but
Yeah.
but that's okay. So let's close this. And oh, here's my Cloud Notes that we just created. Get rid of that. So it's loading. It's looking for something. There's nothing. There's no URL for it to find. But um,
Yeah.
previously, so like I go to setup and share workspace. Uh, this is how I was able to import my workspace when I set up the new computer. And it didn't import all of my settings. Some of the columns I had to go back and redo, but it did kind of
Okay.
get me back in the ballpark, so to speak. Um, in fact, I think when I first opened up the new version of Thinkorswim that I just downloaded from Schwab, and
Hmm.
I was on this like crazy page that was just showing like 20 different futures charts at once, and I was like, oh no,
Wow.
I went too far down this rabbit hole, and now I don't know how to back it up and get back to my Bookmap. So I went
Yeah.
into to this computer and I shared it and sent myself an email, opened it up, and boom, I had my template back without having to like rebuild it from scratch. So that was kind of
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I love
Um,
that feature.
there's a feature as well. Like I think the reason you didn't get all of the stuff is because what you had backed up was before you added all that other stuff. Because when you go to save,
Hmm.
like where is it?
So like save workspace as or
Yeah, when you click on that and you name it, it's gonna save everything you have there. And when you try to open it like how you try to open it somewhere else, you just go over there, open workspace, and you just click on that and you'll get everything back.
very cool. Let's go ahead and do a save right there. So looking at NQ on the half hour, and it is definitely testing VWAP. We got a V reversal, pretty strong reversal.
Yeah.
Um, that level 5650 on the footprint chart for ES is still holding, although the delta is starting to flip. So, and there is a little imbalance, but nothing too significant that I'm seeing here. So, yeah, that looks like it's flipping. I'm just going to pull this in so you guys can see. So we were watching this 5651 level, which there was a imbalance. Uh, I'm sorry, there was a finished auction right here. And you can see it pushed up a little higher, but there was some heavy sellers right in there, so it might be pushing back down. The delta's flipped red, so that could be a good, maybe a 62% or a 70% pullback. Uh, so right here, if this level fails, I would start targeting 5640, 5650, that that level right there.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a ball and green strategy reversal here because it dipped down into the golden pivot zone and
You're looking at
let's see
ES,
here.
is that right?
I think I'm sharing the screen. Am I sharing that screen right now?
Let's see. So
Wait,
yeah,
hold on.
yeah, I'm just seeing your
Wait,
OBS.
I'm a wait, hold on. I'm gonna share it right now. Share screen and 1 second. Right, so I'm sharing my screen right now. So can you see it?
Yeah, I see it. So I'm gonna go ahead
So
and pop this guy out so that I can pull it down here. Okay, yeah, so we should be good to see that.
right, so let's see here. Right, so you see that's the central pivot at 19542
Okay,
and Camaria S3 right there at 19550. And this right here is the first lower deviation band.
Okay.
So, like I said, with the bowling green, I'm looking for it to happen around like a pivot level. So we got the pivot level, we got the accumulation between -1 and -2. -2 is here, -1 is here. We're getting volume, heavy volume into -1, and we're getting the breakout. So we got some volume coming in here as well. And that's basically like a selling climax on the 5 minute chart.
I
I
see
have it
that.
kind of zoomed in.
So the next
So,
target would that be the top central
so
of the central pivot?
my next target would be so we have a lot of, I mean, if I don't, if you don't have this stuff on your chart, it probably doesn't apply. But I have these weekly POC levels and monthly POC levels that could provide like resistance right here at 19605 and 19594.
Okay.
And this is also yesterday's VPOC here, right? So what I'm trying to target in the Bowling Green strategy is from -1 VWAP to at least like minus +2 VWAP, which is right here at yesterday's close at 19623 right there.
Okay.
Yesterday's high is 19632. So
19632.
this, yeah. So this area right here I'm trying to target, and this is plus. All right, let me, because I know when I look at the chart, I see everything, but I know if someone else is looking at this chart right now, you really gotta point out stuff.
Yeah.
So this is +1 VWAP. That's yesterday's high, and this right here is value area high, and that's weekly value area high, and that's lining up with +2 VWAP. So that's my target
I see that.
right here.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a traverse of the VWAPs, you know.
Right. It kind of it kind of bottoms out. Would it be off the third or the second, and then it
So
traverses
yeah,
back to the top second?
yeah, and it's basically like when prices in. I mean, they say that most of the time the market is mean reverting all the time. It's just churning, right?
Yeah.
Until it starts to trend. So what I've noticed with this strategy is I could get a setup every day, right? Now, sometimes the setup might happen in the European session, right? And by the time we come into the open, I mightn't have like a opportunity to get a reversal down at these lower deviations. Sometime when it opens in the RTH, it's already trending to the upside,
Yeah.
and it's already like +1 and +2. And that's why I'm trying to develop the strategy now where I want to get like a retest of like +1 for entry to jump in that trade, because I don't really have a strategy to enter in a long trade. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Okay. So you're saying once it reaches +1, you're looking for a
Hmm.
strategy for continuation at that point. That you haven't
Um,
found it yet, but you're sort of investigating that. Is that what
yeah,
you're saying?
because it's like this. Man, I know there's a lot on my chart. So yesterday, right, in this Euro session here, where we bottomed out at this golden pivot zone and we started moving up, right?
Hmm.
So by the time we get up here, and this is the open, I have like this indicator for the IB high and low. So that's this little range right here. This is where the market opened and we started moving up. Now I already moved these anchored VWAPs to this session, so I can't really see where the anchored VWAPs were, but most likely this right here is a bowling green strategy. Most likely the -1 and -2 VWAPs was where this market pulled back to just before the open, and that's how I'm starting to catch these open ranges where I think it was last week Friday. I caught it at the open, and I was done early in the day. Just before the market opens, I noticed we're getting these Bowling Green entries right here, and then boom, you get like, so if it's a typical day and you're looking for this open drive, sometimes you have to enter before the market opens in
Right.
anticipation of that, because the momentum, you just won't catch it. You get a bad entry up here and stuff, and then your stop loss, you gotta worry about the back and forth right here in this candle. And I'm starting to enter before and put my stop loss here, right below that candle, and then it's safe enough to ride through the back and forth of the open, you know.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And it's working out. When you catch them, it's like when you get this bullish move in the ETH in the European session, most likely it's gonna do that. It's gonna dip just before it opens, because I think like the US guys, they apply pressure to get like a good price to ride the trend,
Yeah.
you know. So they're jumping on the European trend. They're like, oh, these guys is buying, all right, cool. But they're gonna apply pressure just before the open, and then they're gonna apply their volume
Yeah,
to get it up there.
I see that a lot, and it's essentially a shakeout, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it could be even the European guys. They know like, okay, the US session is gonna open. Let me take some profit off.
Yeah.
So it's like with this guy, what's his name? Tom Hogard and Paul. It's like you gotta find a setup where you could where you could size up. They always talk about that, like you gotta find something that's consistent that you could size up on every time it happens. And that's what I'm trying to look for, you know.
Yeah,
So
if you
so
can
you
get into, a break even or plus break even stop loss with size,
mm-hmm,
then you can
mm-hmm,
just sit back and, let it ride.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So man, I'm trying to improve going into the end of this year. We got It's the end of the year coming up, the second half of the year. Well, basically more than that now, but trying to end up the year good, man.
Yeah, same here.
Try and work on
Yeah.
my discipline.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Trying to work out those kinks, when you're in the moment, take the
Mm-hmm.
emotion out of it and just have set strategies that you follow and they either work or fail.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like they say too, you just gotta take the setup when it comes. You're not gonna win every setup. It's still a flip of the coin, but you gotta take the setup to really engage your mind. Like if you to me, if you don't take the setup, you're you're not absorbing. You know, like how focused you get when you're in a trade.
Hmm.
If you don't take the setup, I don't think you're gonna absorb as much as if you're in the trade. So if you pick and choose with your setups, like, oh, I'm scared of this, I'm scared of that, this is looking kind of weird, you still gotta take the trade, and then you'd get in your subconscious would get that information of, oh, this one I shouldn't stay out of, or you would get like a little added tidbit to your strategy where you need this to go long, or you need this extra thing to go short, you know. But you got to take these trades to actually find that out.
Right. Every trade is gonna look different, even though they're similar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So it's kind of muscle memory or brain memory, teaching your brain to notice those little variations and when they are,
Yeah.
conducive to staying in and when they're not conducive to staying in.
And I think the thing that keeps us back from actually making money is the fear of losing money, because when you stay out of certain trades, like if your setup is presenting itself and you're not taking them 100% of the time, you're not gonna develop the strategy properly, and in fact you're gonna be losing money in the long run if you, because sometimes you're gonna be sitting there and then wow, the trade went in my direction and you're like, damn, I should have took that trade.
Yeah.
But it's just you gotta stick with it, you know. And the fear of losing money, you can't really have that because it's like these guys was it's like Tom Hugard and those guys, they trade like their stop is like 18,000 euros, bro. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like you're he's trying to make like 100,000 euros per trade, like in big trades and stuff like that. So when I hear them talking about it like that, I'm like, man, I really shouldn't be scared of losing my little bit of money because that's the only way you're gonna really build up your accounts. You gotta take the risk. You know what I mean? Because he says
Yeah.
in his book, like some people think that they're risk takers, but a lot of people who trade aren't taking any risk really. The way you're trading is trading in fear. You're not really accepting the risk of the loss, you know?
Yeah. That's a
And
good
that
point.
really kind of, yeah, that really kind of stuck with me, man. You really can't be scared. You got to take the trade.
Yeah, I agree. Uh, Not that I'm there. Certainly something I'm working on as well, but
Yeah.
definitely agree with that.
Like this paper trade here, I just practice my bull and green strategy. It's holding above the first lower deviation, and I'm jumping in the trade. I'm gonna set my take profit to up here, and that's it. I'm gonna leave it overnight to see how it goes.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
So
actually, I'm up.
you're gonna leave a stop right here at 19546 or so.
No, I'm gonna actually put my stop below the central pivot.
Okay.
Bring it down here to 19539. So if we do get a retest of the golden pivot zone, maybe I could survive that pullback.
Yeah. So you're risking 2,000 to make 6,000.
Yeah, that's a paper trade. I'm not risking.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah. Just
Yeah,
calmly, casually throwing 2K to the wind and hoping for the best.
like yeah, you know we're doing a live stream, so I'm gonna just risk $2,000. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
but
why
one
not?
day, man, one day,
Yeah. I mean, we risk that
casually
much,
1,000 overnight.
and just go
Sorry,
to
what
bed.
you said?
Just go to bed and sleep, you know, not even worry about it.
Yeah, man. Like it's nothing. You know,
Oh,
it's not
Jesus.
even a trend day like a trend take profit. You know, if it was a
Yeah,
trend day, it's like could go up to like 30,000. This is just a mean reversion. It's only $6,000. You know.
right. Pocket change.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, man. What
Yeah.
time is it now, man? I gotta
Um,
get some rest for the open tomorrow.
yeah, it's that time. But yeah, it's been a good chat. I'm glad we were able to go over the bowling green strategy some more. I can see that it's a VWAP mean reversion strategy. We went over some
Yeah,
footprints. We went over some,
yeah,
forecasting. I hate to use that word. Definitely not predicting, but just kind of looking at what price action is doing in ES. Currently, I always like to say currently, it looks like it's due for a little drip back down to support, possibly 5630. Um, and then we'll see what happens there. But it could always reverse and do the exact opposite. I've had that happen multiple times, and things are always different in the regular trading hours than they are in the extended hours. So we got some stuff
yeah,
to look at here. Very
yeah,
cool, man.
yeah, man. Was a good talk, bro.
Yeah, it was a great
I
talk.
mean, how long? Yeah, we're here like an hour and 24 minutes. I wonder if anyone is gonna listen to the whole thing, bro.
I doubt it, but you know,
Yeah, probably not.
it's out there. If they want to, they can. And
Yeah,
I'm just feeding in some more drums now. We're gonna take us out. Um, But it's been a great chat with Nigel, our admin here at Premium Tier Futures. And you guys are welcome to join the Discord. If the link doesn't work, just hit me up in the comments. And it's free. We trade every day from the NYSE open to close, mostly futures, some options, etc. So feel free to join us. And if you like this video, hit the like button, give us a subscribe, and look for us on the weekly. We tend to do these on Sundays and Mondays. So I will be posting this to our at Premium FTS on X, and give us a follow. Thanks for watching.
All right, y'all. Take care.
All right, my brother. Appreciate you.
All right, bro. Later.
See ya. All right. Again, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this little interlude, and we will see you out there. Happy trading.